Hey guys, it's your girl Angie. You're watching Barbershop Conversations. Make sure to click the button below to subscribe, like the video. Don't like it, leave a comment. You can also follow me at Angelica Curtis on Instagram. See you soon.
Barbershop Conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So, Triple G, Daniel Jacobs. Finally, we get to see Triple G in a big fight. And you know what I'm going to do this fight? Which I often never ever do. Is just watch the fight. And the reason why I just want to watch the fight is because I would organically root for the American in this type of situation. But at the end of the day, I want to see how good Daniel Jacobs is. And I want to see how good Triple G is. And truth be told, as much Triple G has 23 knockouts in a row, we still truly don't know how good Triple G is. I'm just going off of what I see and what I see his ceiling being. As you guys know, I have a standing $1,000 bet, him versus Canelo, but all that gets washed out if he loses to Jacobs, because Golden Boy won't make that fight. So obviously Triple G has the advantage in terms of power. At least that's what we believe. And Daniel Jacobs has the advantage in athleticism and quite possibly better footwork. But what Triple G does in terms of footwork, in which he's underrated for, he doesn't have the athletic feet as a Floyd Mayweather, Lomachenko. He's very subtle in his movements, and it's like his feet are like quicksand in terms of you're going to run out of airspace in the ring, and he does a great job at it. I need you guys to rewatch some of his fights and watch how he cuts the ring off. You know, he does a great job at cutting the ring off, which is creating angles and using the fear of hitting his opponents are fearful of getting hit, so they only go one way, which is a way to the right. And Triple G does a great job at moving subtly to his left, making you go back to the right, and lights out. Now for Daniel Jacobs, I think he has to take the fight to Triple G, and I think he has to manage himself. You know, he's gonna have to find spots in the fight where he can stay calm, per se, and still be a mental threat in the fight. Because Triple G, he may not always look like the most athletic opponent and like he's not coming, but he's literally like, who's the guy that always shows up with them scary movies, Freddy Krueger? You're like, damn, I'm running from the motherfucker, and he always shows up, and the music comes on, dun 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 dun, like Jaws and shit, right? But this is a very compelling fight, because here we go. We have the black American fighter, and we might as well have the conversation now, because as we close to the fight and emotions rise and everyone chooses their sides, you got the black athletic fighter against the European puncher. And at the end of the day, that's what this fight is going to be to the novice fans. That's what this fight is going to be to people who don't have a dog in the race, I believe. But what I think Triple G's weakness is, and this will forever be his weakness, he's a pitch and catch fighter. And what I mean by pitch and catch fighter is he lets you throw, and then he's going to throw. That's why the Canelo fight was so appealing to me, because I can't see that fight going 12 rounds because of the accumulation of punishment on both sides. Now, Daniel Jacobs is going to have to be a magician. He's going to have to be Wolverine, heal himself in the fight. And do I believe he has enough? I absolutely do believe he has enough to upset Triple G. I'm glad he's got his money. And I'm not going to pick a winner in this fight just because I want to enjoy this fight. I have an enjoyed a fight in a long time, guys. Really, because money-wise, I want Triple G to win because I genuinely believe he can beat Canelo. Without a shadow of a doubt, I believe Triple G can beat Canelo. And from my natural instincts, anytime a European is fighting American, whether he's black, whether he's white, whether he's Mexican, I typically go for the American. You know, and when it's black versus Mexican, not obviously, but I take the Mexican. And that's typically how it goes. And you know, Mexican chooses the Mexican, Puerto Rican chooses the Puerto Rican. But I'm going to enjoy this fight. More than likely, I'm not going. Just because, you know, it's so expensive. New York is so expensive. And I lose a day going there. I would have to leave on a Wednesday to start working on a Thursday because of the 3-hour gap. If you don't get a non-stop flight, it's an 8-hour day just traveling, you know. Maybe 11 hours because your layover is 2 hours plus the 5-hour travel time, plus you lose 3 hours. So literally, you lose a day. And I have tons of family out there. I was there for the Porter Thurman fight, but I don't think that fight don't tantalize me as much. I really, really want to see this fight. And I wonder if it's going to be on HBO pay-per-view or Showtime. I'm almost certain it'll be on HBO because of the belt situation. But I'm excited, as you guys are. And keep in mind, this ain't the best fight of the year. This ain't the best fight. Thurman Garcia is probably the best fight. Miguel Badu Jack is probably the best fight. And in terms of pure boxing skills and boxing ability, I believe those two are better in terms of tactical boxing. And if you want the power punches and the threat of getting a knockout, then obviously Triple G, J.U. Jacobs, in my humble opinion. But I'm excited for this fight. March 18th, we finally get Triple G in a big fight. And leave your comments below. And I'm just excited. I don't know I genuinely really don't know who Triple G is. It's kind of like the mid-majors, right? Like the Central, like in football, you got West Central Michigan went undefeated. They went 12-0 this year. Remember the Murray States? Remember the St. Joe's when they had Jameer Nelson? The crazy kid that went to Cleveland that ended up being bipolar, Delonte West. Remember those mid majors? Remember LMU when they were scoring all them points? We gonna see Triple G is kind of like the mid major, you know, in college basketball. You know, is he Butler? Does he get to the national championship game? Or is he LMU in the early 90s where they just scoring points, blowing teams out by 40, just like Triple G, 23 knockouts in a row. Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball and Paul Westhead scoring 140 points a game and pressing you and just wearing you down. Who are they? And so now I ask you, who is Triple G? Is he really Butler? Can he adjust? Can he squeeze everything out of you and make Duke score 51 points to win a national championship? I think that game was 51-50 or something like that. Somewhere, and then they go back, then they go again the following year. So we'll have to sit back and see. And I genuinely don't believe that, I don't think there's an expert out there. If you guys consider me an expert, I appreciate that. But I don't believe there's an expert out there that genuinely knows how good Triple G really, really is. You know, where he got us in a space where we have to choose a side. But this is the one fight where I'm not going to choose a side. I'm not going to do a prediction video as of right now. You know, if Triple G says something that pisses me off, or Daniel Jacobs says something that pisses me off, you know, any one of their camps, then I'll be more inclined to do that. But as of right now, I have this an even fight. For various reasons, you guys may say, what the fuck am I talking about? Triple G has the most power. Yeah, but we know what happens when black fighters fight European fighters. History proves. And if you ask any expert who is unbiased, excuse me, there's no such thing as an unbiased person, but who's willing to give an honest opinion on the reality, then they will tell you 80% of the time, not the black athlete, because they're all athletes. The black athletic fighter, the black athletic boxer puncher will beat the plotty Eastern European fighter. Lomachenko is an outlier, guys, in terms of who he is in the ring, and I absolutely love Lomachenko, man. I'm a fan, and I think he has the goods. Unlike Triple G, Lomachenko beat Gary Russell, who I think you know who Gary Russell reminds me of in the ring? He reminds me of an Odell Beckham. Super duper athletic, can do anything in the ring, and he always amazes me. The only fight, obviously, he didn't amaze me was the Lomachenko fight, but Gary Russell flat out amazes me. And the reason why he amazed me is because he does things in the ring that I can't even do in shadow boxing. You know what I mean? Like his hand speed, his athleticism, his ability to get off punches, his ability to throw punches in between punches. Oh man. And getting back on Triple G, I'm just truly excited for this fight. I'm glad this fight was made. I tried to interview them Saturday at the Bernard Hopkins fight, but they were quiet. They wasn't really willing to do any type of interviews or whatever the case may be. But set your calendars, guys. At the end of the day, your Saturdays and Sundays are pretty much done if you're a sports fan, because we got the NFL playoffs. No one misses the game of the NFL playoffs. And now we got the Raiders and the Cowboys back. It's must-see TV because you either hate the Cowboys or love them, and the same thing goes for the Raiders. And then we got March Madness right after that. So tell your girls, tell your side chicks, tell your baby mamas, your Saturdays are pretty much occupied. You know what I mean? And it's just going to be an exciting first quarter of the year. I know my Saturdays are pretty much monopolized between boxing, college basketball, and NFL football. I really have no time for anything. And the sad thing about it is we're off till January 14th in terms of boxing, in terms of big fights. But we got all these storylines coming out, so which will be exciting. So anyhow, Barbershop Conversations, Triple G, Daniel Jacobs, March 18th, and it's just going to be an exciting time. It's an exciting time for boxing because obviously I'm sorry I keep on going off and on, but obviously 2016 was the year for bums, right? Triple G fought all bums in terms of if you're a betting man. That's how I gauge bums in terms of betting men. When the opponent, when you see the opponent, you're like, oh, he's an odds-on favorite. Triple G was a probably 80-85% chance of winning all his fights this year. Deontay Wilder, 85% chance of winning all his fights. Anthony Joshua, the only true champion that really took a chance, and I'm just speaking off of emotional, guys, I'm not really thinking about it, is Carl Frampton. And Andre Ward, right? Andre Ward beat Sullivan Barrera, who's a fucking monster. Sullivan Barrera, excuse me, is a fucking beast. And I suggest you guys get on board with him. The only thing is, it's like Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Houston would not have, Hakeem Olajuwon would not have a championship if Michael Jordan didn't retire. They would have won 8 in a row. And the same holds true for all the light heavyweights. Andre Ward is present. He's there. And there's nothing you can do about it. So our Barbershop Conversation, March 18th. Get excited. And we off and running. So I'll talk to you guys soon. And please hit the subscribe button.
You already know what it is. It's Barbershop Conversations. Hit the subscribe and the like button today.